My dad comes in and he's so angry. He's like, what's going on over here? People aren't getting their food. It's a mess. And he stops everything, pulls me out of the kitchen to have a conversation with like, what the heck is going on? And I have anxiety, like dialed to 11 because I'm trying to take this food out. My dad pulls me out of the kitchen. We go around to the back. It's crazy. There was a line of people, like, it takes me all the way to the back. I have no idea what the employees were doing at the time. The Kobe Bryant just got pulled off the court. Like, hey guys, keep playing, right? I'm gonna go have a private meeting in a locker room with this guy right now. No idea to this day what the employees were doing. He came in super hot and angry, and then he pulls out his pocket, and he had gone to the register, and he's like, Seth, look at this. I was like, Dad, why are you so mad? It's crazy. He's like, oh no, I'm not mad anymore. You guys did $800 tonight. It's incredible. Great job. I'm like, what the heck, dude? I thought he was gonna like kill me. You know, he's taking me to the back of the building.
Everything you just described is exactly transferable to every business owner that we talk to. So those are some golden nuggets in there, guys.
Welcome to Lords of Lending. I'm Shane Pearson with my co-hosts, Brian Conjolier and Stephanie Dunn. And today we're going to go from spreadsheets to spatulas with a family that's turned a hole in the wall on Oahu into a growing restaurant brand with over 14 locations and soon to be more. Our guest today is none other than Seth, the Home Man Hannemann.
Ooh, busting out the home man.
Seven Brothers Burgers in particular. Seth, great to have you on, buddy.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm very honored, very humbled. Thank you.
Very humbled. So a little background that's I think good to know about the relationship between Seth, Brian Conjolier, and myself, and now Stephanie by adoption, is Seth was on our high school volleyball team. And Seth was another, we call it the yin and the yang setter. So Brian was the yin or whatever is the better setter. And then Seth was not as good setter on the volleyball team. What was your comment that our coach said to Seth on that team? You brought it up. We were in Hawaii recently. Talk me through it, buddy.
So Shane came to Hawaii to visit me, and we were going down memory lane. And as the high school setter, the only reason why I played, I wouldn't be second string. I think I'd be more like seventh string. And the only reason why I played was because all of us being in the same year, Brian was the varsity setter, but he rolled his ankle. So the only other option was the JV setter. So they bumped me up. And so that's what started my varsity setting career at Newbury Park High School. And then after that, he went he went off to play in Hawaii over here where I'm at now for one of the local, what high school was it again, Brian?
St. Louis.
St. Louis, that's right.
St.
Which
Louis.
is an epic.
Yes.
And St. Louis, they're like a killer. St. Louis, like their football team is good, their volleyball team is good. So anyways, again, was it NCAA, whatever the rules are for high school volleyball, he can't play 2 seasons in a single high school year. So then once again, I had to roll up into the varsity setting situation. And our coach,
you're not giving
Brian.
yourself enough credit, man. You held it down. You're good, dude.
Well, scrappy, but Ed Bond, this is what I told Shane. Ed Bond, our coach, right? He's like, Seth, in the middle of a game, and he would tell me, you're the only setter I've ever met that sets it so perfectly, so consistently for the other team. Put it on this side of the net. So, anyways, that describes my high school volleyball setting career. But loved it very much. Shane was a total killer, hitting it on the outside. Brian was a total killer. Went off to play D1 BYU setting and playing volleyball over there. And yeah, I probably should have been watching from the sidelines, but we love the game. I was honored enough to play with these two guys. And Shane, didn't you go on? You played too, right? Didn't you go on to play in college?
D3 is quote unquote playing volleyball at that point. Yeah, when you shape like a trapezoid, you can only jump, 28 inches instead of 38 inches. You're only going D3. I mean, it's adorable to think otherwise, but
no, but total legends. Like, so you have Brian that came out of that high school. You have his older brother Rob who played D1 BYU, came out of it. Casey Patterson that was an Olympian that came out of that high school. So there was a lot of killers. And I think arguably my brother Sterling and Spencer could have done, Sterling especially, my older brother could have gone something with it. But yeah, he made a left turn in life, got married, and that's how that goes. But yeah, we were so those guys graduated. Brian rolled his ankle and then went off to a better high school, and so they were stuck with me. Great times though, had a great time, loved the game, and was epic.
That was just a fun little background to kind of bring into what this really is supposed to be about today.
Yeah, so
No, no,
quick
that's
detour.
high performing. We talk about this all the time, right? There's something to be said about high performing athletes go on and continue to be high performers. So there you go.
High performer, baby. To the point where now he is in the master class and he's a part of running a company that I honestly think is the type of food that you eat at Sunday dinner. And so today with him, we really want to dig into what happened, like what caused their business to start the way that it did, how it survived with the number of family members involved and is continuing to crescendo into the beautiful brand that is Seven Brothers today as it starts to take over the United States. I think you're farthest west. You guys are in Utah right now, and you're also down in Arizona, and we're
Utah and
looking to
Arizona
dominate the United States one state at a time. So, except for California at the moment, right?
at the moment. At the moment,
At the
yeah,
moment.
we're gonna avoid that for the time being. But
No,
no, it's been it's been an amazing journey so far. I mean, as far as the origin story goes, 2009. So you fast forward, we're all living in Hawaii and going to there's a BYU Hawaii here. It's a small sister branch of the Provo, Utah BYU Hawaii or BYU college campus. It's a small school. It's a small town, little village on the north shore of Oahu, and my dad bought a small hole in the wall restaurant behind a gas station in 2009 when four of us older brothers were married, already going to college, and the three younger brothers were still coming up through like high school. And I think eighth grade was the youngest brother at the time, or ninth grade. And my dad came home one day and said, "Hey, what do you guys think about running a restaurant?" And backstory too, like in a nutshell, dad's a full-on entrepreneur. He's a guy that threw caution to the wind when it came to business decisions. It was all about like the goal and the idea of working together as a family. So that's something that to be said. Even as a kid, I remember when I was 8 or 7, my dad drove us to this place. It was a pizzeria place that was for sale. And we walked it and he was like, "Hey, what do you guys think if we opened up a pizza shop?" So that was the first concept I remember as a little kid of my dad, just like, this guy's an entrepreneur. He's like this, he left his before I was even born, he left his big corner office in downtown LA job to open up his own Shoeshine stand in the 80s. I think maybe I was born like one, but talk about a guy that takes risks. So he went from security to which crashed and failed, by the way. And to shout out to my dad, I love this story actually. If I can detour a little bit further down this rabbit hole. So he was working for this like corporate America, flying all around. He was 28, 29 years old at the time, and just an ambitious guy, climbed his way up in 2 years with this company, corner office, and he was a consultant for it's like I can't remember the name of the company, but he made it basically by all the measures of this, made it. Quits that job, leaves it to open a shoe shine stand because shoe shining in the 80s was a thing at the airports. You put your boot up on this thing
Mhm.
and this lady and people, they shine your shoes. And he started talking to this guy, thought that was so cool. And this guy kind of sold them on this idea, like, "Oh, I shine this many people's shoes. I charge them this much money." My dad started with the numbers. I'm like, it's like, man, if I had one in San Diego, one in LA, and at all the airports, JFK, and I could probably, make a cut. He quits his job to do that without even testing it first, just goes all in. It crashed, burned, and failed. There's a picture of my mom dressed up in like this vest. Like it's like almost like a tuxedo minus the suit, but at this vest, it's like a three-piece outfit. Anyways, it crashed and burned. And my dad's executive board people that he used to work with saw him at LAX one day and they said, "Art, is that you?" While my dad's shining a shoe, right? Corner office to shoe shining. And they're like, "What happened, Art? What's going on?" Like, "Oh man, like, yeah, you disappeared one day. We didn't know what happened to you." And my dad's like, "No, I left the company to do this." And he's like, "Dude, are you okay?" He's like, "No, no, look, this is my own business, this is my own thing. This was always my dream. I want to do something on my own." The guy shook my dad's hand. I was like, "Dude, good for you." These guys are in their suits and ties, by the way, off to do stuff that he used to do. And shout out to my dad and the credit of throwing caution to the wind, going after what your dream and your passion is to be an entrepreneur and do your own business and to grow something to call your own. Fast forward, that was in the 80s. Fast forward to 2009, buys this hole in the wall restaurant with it was a two-person operation, husband and wife, Korean, and they sold my dad this restaurant on a whim. Like my dad just rolled up and said, "Hey, I got to buy it." Comes in like on a Friday night and says, "Hey guys, what do you think about running a restaurant?" Kind of like when we were 8 years old back in that pizzeria place. I raise my hand and say, "Dad, this is crazy. We're going to college right now. Like we all have little kids we're trying to raise. Our focus is like trying to get our degrees. No, don't do this. Don't do this." Like, well, too bad. I already bought it. And you guys are all working on Monday, by the way. I need your help. What? And it was totally, again, the knee-jerk reaction to this other thing that he did. He saw it as a vision of just something cool to work together as a family. And maybe we can take a few bucks from the register to buy a book at college that we needed or whatever, buy some milk. He never saw the vision of what it was today. None of us did really. And I have so much of a respect for dad, obviously, and then also mom too, supporting him in all of these things. Like you know the saying, like behind every man is a great woman, right? That's like supporting and leading and guiding the way. And you know, big shout out to my mother, Peggy Hannemann, who my dad and all of his ideas and things that she supported him and always just trusted in him that he knew what he was doing. But anyways, that's how we bought the restaurant. It was called Kahuku Grill at the time. That was in 2009. And then it just started happening where the next town over, Laie, there was an opening that came up in the little strip mall right there next to an Ace Hardware. And my dad's like, "Hey, what do you guys think?" 3 miles apart from each other, mind you. So you have Kahuku and you have Laie, 3 miles apart. Population in Kahuku, 7,000. Population in Laie, 5,000. 3 miles apart. And you're competing with McDonald's, the number one burger brand in the planet. So typically you think, from a business perspective, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
We're like, "Dad, I don't know." And he's like, "No, we're doing it. We're doing it." Boom. 2.5 years later, 2009 to 2000, end of 12, beginning of 13, boom. Another restaurant right there kind of pops up. And then we had these two locations that were just firing off. And then it just kind of kept going from there. And something that became like, well, too bad I bought it. Let's just start working it, whatever, became this family project. And I remember when we bought the first location, my brother Sterling was kind of like helping. So Sterling, the second oldest, myself, my brother Shem, number 4, and my brother Seek, number 5. We were all kind of working it like a little bit, but Sterling was the one that took the bull by the reins and really saw this as like, this is a cool opportunity. He's the one that was working it and kind of managing it. We were like, it hadn't even been like maybe 2 months that we've had this thing. It was the Lakers. It was the finals, and the Lakers were playing against, I think,
Celtics.
maybe the Celtics. And it was like game 4 or 5. And I was supposed to show up for work on my first day on like at 6 o'clock, but the game ended like at whatever, 7:30 or something like that. I showed up like an hour too late for work. My brother Sterling gave me the dirtiest scoldings. And he's like, "You're supposed to be here at like," I think I was supposed to be there at maybe 4 or something like that. Supposed to be here at 4 o'clock hours ago. And I'm like, "Why, dude? Who cares? This is like, you guys are playing with Play-Doh, a little better than that. This is nothing. This is just, did you even have a customer while I was gone? Come on."
The skeptic.
And he swears up to me and he says this, dude, I'll never forget it. And Sterling's the one that put kind of like the reality into it. He's like, "This is the new family business. You either are here or you're not. You either show up or you don't. But don't be dilly-dallying around and not show up, because this is a real business and it's the new family business." And my first response was, "But the Lakers were playing." Come on, man. Dude, hello. But the reality kicked in, and I was glad, because under other circumstances, if we were younger, he would have beat the crap out of me right then and there. But that didn't happen. I got the message right then and there. And from there on, it was like, oh, this is like a real thing. Like dad and mom have actually invested money into this. This is our family business. There are real customers coming to the window. And we need to make sure that there's transaction happen. They give us money, we give them food, has to make sure it tastes good. And then, oh yeah, the tables need to be wiped too. Like make sure they sit down in a clean area. Oh, let's chase the chickens out of the dining room. That would probably be good. We have chickens in Hawaii over here.
So
It's like that would be which is still an issue. but yeah, like the reality started just kicking in. Like, okay, this is a real business. So long, long answer to the question, Shane. So that's the origin story of how it started, and everybody jumped on board, and then it was go time.
Well, and so today you have are literally all 7 brothers involved in the day-to-day operations at some point?
We
Like
are all 7 brothers. Yeah.
everybody's doing something. So you got a
Yep.
lot of different and, a lot of brothers who are all, like, pining for the moment in the spotlight. But how do you function as a group of 7? And then also your father. I mean, your father definitely is a visionary man. We've known him. He's, like, engaged, goes after it, attacks, and we know Peggy personally, but, like, how do you make that work with 7 guys? I mean, granted, and I
Yeah.
say maybe 10 locations ago when there wasn't this many
Right.
locations to operate, So, like, what was put in place to actually make that functional?
So we got to give credit where credit's due. Like, God is the short answer, and a lot of praying and a lot of fasting. And when you have a dynamic where, so my mom, as we say here in Hawaii, she's Haole, she's white. My dad is Samoan. So in the Samoan culture, you never really like disrespect or talk back to your elders or parents, which is pretty typical in every culture. But ultimately, dad, it was the most difficult thing for the dynamic of the family was now that we were raised, we were his children that were adults, where 4 of the 7 of us were married with little kids, trying to navigate the waters of, okay, this is dad, but he's also our boss, but we have ideas too. It was difficult for him, I think, to see us as not children and to see us as like peers and as like business partners. And then equally, it was difficult for us to separate the line between like dad and like business partner as well too, where yeah, how do you balance the dynamic of that? And honestly, trial, error, fasting, prayer, all of that, and coming to it where we still respected our father and a lot of disagree. There was, let's be honest, like so many fights, so many argues, so many, cooks in the kitchen, literally, figuratively, all that jazz. And I think what one of our blessings was that there was 7 of us. So when you have 7 people and all at different ages, and then the younger ones are coming up and they started going on missions for the church and coming back home and they're like, hey, let's go to college. Hey, I need a career now, graduating college. We're all looking at career paths. There was this like, I mean, this love for this little hole in the wall concept, like raising a child almost. And each of us had a piece in of it. But I think one of our greatest successes was that there was so many of us. Even my mom worked it too. So technically there were 7 of us, but really there was 9 of us because there was mom and dad, and our wives all worked it too. So I mean, there was like 11, 12, 13, the 4 of us married at the time. So we all were working it. And then there were times when we got burnout, which happened all of the time. We would step away, take away. I stepped away for a couple of years. I got into medical sales. My brother Sterling, he was here in college working it, and then he stepped away. We've all stepped away for years at a time. But it's so funny that we've all come back, every one of us, to where all 7 of us now in the position that we're in, where it's the most successful we've ever been. And now there's this like real growth and rolling. But going back again, like how did we do it? I just got to keep coming back to where we leaned heavily on dad for the vision of it. And if dad was on this call too, he would, our burger that put us on the map is the Pontiolo burger. And he would tell you that God made that burger. And there's still a fight to this day of who actually thought of it. But when we started whacking things off the menu that we felt weren't doing that well, and every brother would have a piece that they would bring to the table, where whether it was dialing the menu better and then getting it, then the dad, an act of God, would be like, okay, let's try that, right? Because he was holding on to the reins really tight, and then slowly, like with enough arguing and battling and fighting, like, okay, well, let's try it. For example, my brother Shem, he's kind of like, he's a big foodie, and my dad and him kind of got into it one day, and we did the math, and we were losing so much money on just our burgers. We were like, it was like we were paying people because the prices were so low. Dad wanted to make it affordable. And Shem's like, dude, we're literally paying people to eat our food for our number one item, the burger. Dad's like, no one's gonna buy an $8 burger. This is 2010, 11. No one's gonna pay
Oh,
for
we're
an
actually we're
$8 burger.
$14 burgers now. Not at
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
but
And
it's
the burger, and back then it was $3.75, mind you. So $3.75 for a good, like, proper hamburger that we were hand making the patty, chopping up the potatoes, like real, like, cooking raw ingredients here. Never nothing ever frozen, nothing coming out of a package. Like, even the salad, everything chopped up by
Yeah,
hand.
delicious.
Um, so dad's like, "No one's gonna buy an $8 burger or a $7 burger." Shim's like, "Dad, I'm gonna take the challenge. I'm gonna create a burger." He came up with the Shem burger, and he looked at all of the ingredients that we had, and we had avocados. He made it a homemade guacamole, which is amazing. And he added the guacamole on it, sold it for $8, and it worked. So we're like, "Oh my gosh, like, this is mind blowing." So as long as you put the love and the time and attention into it, and if it's a homemade piece, like, you can get guacamole, you can buy it out of a bag, actually. It's already
Yeah.
made, and it's not bad, and it's gotten better over the years, but there's something different when you home make it. So home making the food as much as you can, and then dad loosening up on the reins a little bit. It's like, okay, that works, and then cutting things. So Shem was the food, the menu guy. I'm like the guy that came in, like, customer service was like the big thing for me. I got into sales early on. And so, like, the sales piece of it and the customer service piece of it, that was huge for me. My brothers Sterling and Max, like, operationally, they just, I don't know, they just get it. Like, hey, let's move the grill here. Let's move that here. Let's eliminate the steps. This person's walking too much. So over the years, what any person probably could come and do, like, that's pro at this, they could have done. It took us a long time.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say we're the model at all for how to do this quick or fast. Like, you have 7 voices, 7 people coming together, so it was definitely a slow roll
Well, I got a
all day.
question for Steph. There's a couple industries that we tend to master in where I see a similar family orienting. One of them is your specialty, right? You have the funeral home industry. Do you ever encounter anything it's similar to this with families that you've worked with in the funeral industry, where it's almost generational, like the way that it
Yeah.
gets built?
Yeah. The whole time I'm listening to you thinking the dynamic is so interesting to me because I try to envision, okay, how could I fit in if I was a part of that family, you know? Like I can only imagine who's on first is always the question, you know, like every day, like who's in charge of what? Like you said, how does everyone stay in their lane? And so I've done a lot of funeral home loans over my career, and it's very much a family business. It's usually multi-generational. They inherit it from great grandparents, and they continue to do it the way that it's always been done, right? So that's a dynamic in of itself. But the thing in the funeral business, and this was one of my questions for you, in the funeral business, everyone has their family unique brand. And it's not necessarily the culture, you know, because everyone throws that around. And it's not like the marketing piece. It's the family brand. Like, what does this family stand for in this business so that anyone walking through the door feels that and experiences it? And so I was on your Instagram earlier and I was like, man, I could like feel the essence of the brand there. And the brand is family consistency and dedication, and which runs deep in the funeral business. So yeah, that was my question for you, is like if you had to bottle your brand, not the culture, not the marketing slogan, like fresh ingredients and all that stuff, right? But what you do, your secret sauce is all the stuff you're talking about right now, which is like the family dynamic. Like people are interested in that. They want to come experience it because they want to feel part of that experience. So
That's so cool.
yeah, my question for you is like, do you feel that? Was it like, is it just something that you guys have translated into the restaurant experience? Because that's the special sauce, and is the like that's why people love going to eat at big Italian restaurants because they feel like, oh, I'm part of the family, and they experience the
Oh,
history. They like to read the history on the menu, and they like to feel part of that experience. You know, it's like special. Like Dollywood, I'm obsessed with Dolly Parton because she does that too. In Dollywood, she has her mom has a recipe for banana bread too, and you can buy it there, and everyone wants to be a part of her family experience. So for
yeah.
you
No,
guys,
I
yeah, are you doing it intentionally because it's coming through, and that's really cool.
I love that you say that, Steph, because that's the goal. And me, I do a lot of the marketing and the customer service piece of it. So the fact that you're picking up on that is like music to my ears. I love that. And so thank you for seeing that. And so if I was to bottle it up, it would come on these three things. And these are our three pillars that we stand on. And again, dad came up with this, but we live, eat, breathe, and die by these three things. So number one is this: Christ centered. The business has to be centered as we were raised, as our family was raised, Christ centered at the very middle of that. Number two is family focused. And then the third thing is the food, where we're passionate about making and serving food. And dad's always big on, don't forget the service part. The service is huge. Making and serving food that will blow people away. So that, in a nutshell, is the answer to your question. And how did we come to that? I think
Chills. What's from you?
Got her.
You got then please tell me that's on the wall in every restaurant, like the
it's
decal.
not. That's a good point, though. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
amazing.
everything we do, we try to make those three things come out. You know, that's a good point, like putting it on the wall, but without having it on the wall and without it like branded on our foreheads, we're hoping that that's the message and that's the image that's being portrayed, and it's not so much as like, hey, look at this, look at us over here. We're, such whatever people, right? But rather just how we live, how we act, how we treat people, how we make our food, how we treat our people that work with us. Is it does it represent those three things, right? And I think that's kind of our North Star in all three, is making sure that when we wake up, that's what we're trying to do, that's what we're trying to accomplish. And I love that you asked that question, and I totally love you, Steph, for picking up on that, because that's really cool, because that's what we're trying to like promote. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
I love
So
it.
I
Incredible.
want to share something real fast because I remember going to Kuku Grill when it was just the Kuku Grill. That's all you guys. That was the only one you guys had. I remember going in, and actually we were there on my honeymoon with my wife Anne, and we went and ate there, and we both walked away going, "Whoa, that was so tasty! That was so good! That was so amazing! I'm so
That's
impressed. That's
awesome.
awesome!" And then like the next time we went to Hawaii, we were there, and you guys had the Seven Brothers burgers at that point, and you guys had kind of changed the branding, to the Seven Brothers branding, and everything was a little bit more along those lines. And I just remember kind of like what Steph was saying, walking in and seeing that same picture, of all the brothers with the
Yeah.
surfboards, because I'll tell a quick story. This was like a famous thing for us in high school. Like everyone that knew the Hannemans knew Saturday morning we're doing a service project, and then Art's got the boards, the surfboards on the roof rack of the van, and we're going surfing after the service project with donuts. That was
That's
always a thing
awesome.
for us guys in high school, so we would always do that. I remember that. But like you've literally translated that
Yeah,
same vibe that everyone growing up wanted to participate in.
yeah,
You translated that to the brand that you guys have built, the restaurants. So I think that that's really cool. And I would
yeah. Yeah. Well, and I'm an only child, which is interesting. So when I'm like mesmerized when I see big family dynamics. Like I looked you up before this call and I'm like, man, and he has 5 kids, 7 brothers, 5 kids. You all seven have 5 kids. I'm like, could you imagine Christmas? That must be amazing. And so the restaurant concept is a way for you to share a big family with everyone else, which is really cool. Like a lot of people don't get to experience that amazing like experience of big loving family that's all involved.
Well, so I have a
Oh, it's so
question for you.
fun.
So knowing that, we're talking about this idea of legacy. So we live in a world where entrepreneurs are buying restaurants, they're expanding restaurants, and the story that often gets told to us is they want some big delicious exit, right? They want private equity to come buy them out. Like that's the pitch. Let me open up 17 crumble restaurants, crumble locations, and swig your favorite, the soda shops, right? That you had a conversation about. He's like, I don't get it's soda. But the whole idea is open up as many of these as possible so that I can bundle them up and sell them off for 30, $40 million. But I see a brand like this one that is personalized, that has some elements that I would say that aren't agnostic when it comes to, by Christ being the center of it, and things that aren't don't tend to get popularized, especially in like social media and everything else, right? Like they
Sure.
get shied away from. Everyone wants to neutralize it. Yet you're finding success in polarizing your view, not even polarizing, what's the word I'm looking for? In pulling your view into the center of how you operate, and it sits apart from the way other people tend to run their business. So what what is the discussed long-term strategy for Seven Brothers from where it's at
Yeah,
now? Are you looking have you talked about like where do we go with this?
always talking about it. And starting it from like a branding perspective where it's morphed, I still feel today like, what is our brand? And the answer seems to keep coming back where all seven of us are very different. And so, similar, our vision and dream of where we're going has kind of been the origin story of also how the brand has emerged to what it is today. So, we want to be all over the planet. We want to be, international.
London,
We want
Scotland,
where? Where?
Scotland,
Where?
send
Oh,
me a text,
Scotland. Yeah.
Scotland,
Scotland. Like, the idea is that, and I think we're learning now too that location is very key and very important where you're going. Like so are we a McDonald's or a Five Guys that's on every street corner, or Burger King, or are we more of like a destination location? We're thinking we're more of a destination location where um we have places like, your Las Vegas Strip, your Waikiki, and these types of places, New York and stuff. But um from a, a vision standpoint, that's where we want to go, but being a little bit more particular about our locations and not just, oh, this is a cool turnkey operation. This was an old whatever, and we can just roll right up in there, and it's not too expensive. I think making the investment and approaching it methodically, and that those things pay off long term. Where it might be a bigger investment in the front end, but then might be better long term. And then just staying super true to those key principles and to those values. And what's really cool and pays off too, I think, in dividends is not just us doing that, but teaching the next generation, and a lot of the kids that we work with. I say kids, there's a lot of teenagers that we work with, but then the teams of people that we work with, it's so cool. We like to follow a lot of companies that seem to be like-minded, where Christ seems to be a big part of their companies as well too. Chick-fil-A, In and Out has the John 3:16 under the cup. It's subtle, but it's there. There's these like hints of Christianity and of some, of God. And there was a customer we had, and I won't name the particular location, but they came in, read our story, and like, oh, they're Christians, and they were disgusted and walked out. And for me, I wasn't offended by that. I thought two things. One was, isn't it so cool that we live in a country that you can do that, and someone can say that and think that, and that's super cool that they're not going to get, shot or something like that, whatever. Secondly, I can't think of a better way to lose a customer in the name of, our Savior, Jesus Christ, and if that's the case. But I think there are way more people that are attracted and appeal to it as opposed to those that do not. And everyone's entitled to their opinion for X, Y, and Z reasons, and that's awesome. High five to them. Totally cool. And that's not going to shy us away to embrace everything that Brian, I appreciate you sharing that story. Like, my dad has always been unapologetically who he is, and it does offend a lot of people. I respect that. I'm biased towards that position because obviously he's my dad. That's how we were raised. And in areas and positions where I felt maybe shy about my religion or my beliefs in certain settings, I I just kind of revert back and think to my dad, and that you know, it we should never be ashamed who we are, what we believe, or whatever, right? We should wear it proud. And if people think less of us as a result of that, you know, totally fine, totally good for them. When I think when we put ourselves in these little tests of how people will respond or act to certain things, and it's not even to be controversial at all. It's just to be, this is who I am, and it's okay if you don't like it. It's totally fine. Like, still love you, and I think we have more in common than things that we don't, and finding those common grounds. And as a vision for us, as long as we hold true to it's we are here today because of holding on to those three pillars. My dad reminds us constantly. And now dad and mom are like a little bit more retired. He still is like the chief of board, and he's the guy that still pops in and checks in, making sure that those three pillars are never changing. There are other things that are subsets of that, but those are the three things that he's constantly reminding us back. And as a as an entrepreneur, my dad, and as a consultant his entire life, he's always just like popping his head in the office, if you will, making sure that we brothers haven't lost our way. As the seven of us wake up every day and we're still trying to morph this family brand and dynamic and making sure we don't lose our way. And I mean, Steph, you're talking about Instagram videos and things that we're making, and my brother Seek, brother number five, is our CEO. Crazy laser focused vision on what the brand is, what it is, and making sure we don't lose our way. He's like, I'm so impressed by him, my little brother, right? My boss. And it's interesting that he's just so focused on making sure we're not losing our way and all that. And I think that as all seven of us never question those three pillars and those three values, it says a lot, regardless of like maybe there's one song that might be off or brand for one of my Instagram videos, or I edited a video that was a little weird or something like that. And those are just like little one-offs. But at the end of the day, I think we're still learning in our style of restaurant. Brian, you talked about, it was Kahuku Grill in the beginning. And as the years went on, it morphed and we called it Seven Brothers. And then that was the branding logo that we went behind. And then we settled on that. And it was just now, you fast forward to 2025, where me personally and some of the brothers, we agree, the inside of our diners, I think we just now figured out after 14 locations of what they should look like. Because if you
Mm.
go to each store, they're a little different.
Mhm.
And McDonald's and Burger King, it's like cookie cutter. And so we wanted a little bit of some, for it to be malleable a little bit, for each location to have its own personality, and you can let each brother kind of put their own little love and aloha into it. But now we're kind of figuring, okay, this is, each building may not be exactly the same, but we want this type of a look and feeling. And it's basically like walking into our living room, it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of give it that homey feeling.
I mean, to
So
what extent is that just, it seems like, I should say, it's a lot based on now you guys are growing. You're getting 14 locations. It's not just, 2, 3, 4, 5 locations. So to what extent is that applying different pressures on you guys to, um, create, like you were saying, a method, a system, a protocol for every step of the business?
it's such a good question, Bry. I swear it changes. I just got a new role like within the last 48 hours. Um, so I think for us, having the humility of the older brother, of the fifth brother, he's not even the first, second. I mean, fifth is pretty far down the line of seven, right? So your for me, it's my little brother being the boss and steering this. And then so I would say humility, being humble enough to where it's like, I think there's not any one of us that is like, dude, I need the power, I need the privilege, I need to be the spotlight, I need to be, you know, arguably I'm the guy that loves the spotlight the most. Like, if there's like a dance floor or a
Random
microphone, Brian
dance.
Shane on the Instagram, like I don't mind that stuff. And my brother's kind of shy away from that, but to where one of us has a strength, the other has weaknesses and vice versa. And so humility, I think, is a big part of it. And we're still learning that, practicing that, trying to do that all the time, but being cool with this brother being the boss and being cool with this brother doing this. And then being cool with like, hey, this is a growing and emerging brand, and we got pretty decently okay with running a restaurant, and now we're doing this entirely different business where we're in franchising, and now we're looking at more of doing primarily just opening more corporate stores, and then bringing on partners for financial help, and then bringing on people in both in the company and out of the company to become like regional managers, things that we've never really done before. So to answer your question, Brian, I think it's rolling with the punches and being cool with, hey, Seth, you're doing a great job in the marketing Instagram piece, but now we want you to be over these four stores, overseeing like kind of the regional responsibility because of X, Y, and Z reasons. We think your front of house skill set might be best suited for these four stores that need a little more love and aloha, we'll say, on the front of house.
Hmm.
And what am I going to say? So it's presented to me in a way like, hey, you have to do, not like you have to do this, but rather, Seth, think about it. Talk to your wife, Momi, about it. This is what we're kind of thinking. And me and brother number six, my little brother, we're talking and we're making this decision. What do you think? So I think just as a family dynamic, you have to be somewhat cool with it, right? And you have to be able to roll with it. And um, working with and dude, we are not perfect at all. Like, and I don't want this to sound like, oh, Seth is like, we have fought. I can tell you stories where we literally were in the kitchen fighting, like literally fighting, like
Samoan
foot
slaughterhouse
on
style?
foot on throat. Someone slaughterhouse, like Max and Sterling, like literally fighting, like,
So
and then
good.
my dad coming in, like we've had full on blowout fights, but I guess one of our super strengths is that in the end, no matter how big the fight was, we've always been able to like lower the jets, lower the jets, lower the lower the flame, whatever.
There it is.
Uh, and say sorry if we were in the wrong, I guess, and be humble enough to be like, dude, you totally suck, bro. That sucked that you did that. Like, and then saying sorry and apologizing and hugging it out because we beat the tar out of each other as brothers growing up, 100%. And then we've grown up to where like, okay, it's like a lot of arguing, but then when we were adults, we still had little brothers that were in high school. They were still kids. So yeah, we still beat them up a little bit. But now that we're all adults, the fighting has lessened. But I think we've been able to, I don't know, like, we forgive each other pretty quick and we were like cool with it afterwards. Like we're brothers, right? And we're all each other's best friends at the end of the day. So it's cool. Where I think so that's the plus and the minus. Zero filter. I'm gonna fight you. Typically that doesn't happen in you know, corporate setting, but it's super honest. And you know exactly what the other person's thinking and where they're at. So I think that would be one of the positives. And then because we're brothers, we're not suing each other for you know,
Yeah.
That
beating the tar out of each other. I know that happens, but I could honestly say like I would, and that you're right, Shane, that does happen. So like, dude, none of us has a sue bone in their body. Let's see what happens as this thing grows. We'll see. But I think we're all just like we're each other's best friends. We're like super tight. And regardless of what happens, like none of us are in this for the cash either. Like zero. If we were in this for the cash, we would have quit officially, not just quit like for a year or two and been done and gone. And people have told me, I gotta make a big point about this. Seth, how do you guys do it? Like I'm thinking about doing a food truck or whatever. I would never wish it upon my greatest enemy to go into food and beverage. Why? It is the hardest way to make a dollar on the planet, arguably, than maybe farming. There are so many ways to make cash these days. You can make a ton of cash just sitting in the air conditioning of your house in Bali. Food and beverage is like old school, grind out in the trenches. You have people, everybody eats, everybody's a critic. You know,
There's
you're
so
a software engineer, designer, like everybody eats. Everyone's got a palate. Everyone is their own god of food criticism and critiquing food.
yeah.
And so to accommodate angry people that are hungry and families and all stuff. Anyway, sorry, I'm going down rabbit holes all over the place. But
Ah,
Oh
ultimately,
no, you're good, man.
it's so hard. We are not in this for the money. Never have. Do we want to make money? Yes. Do you have to make money? You got to. And working together as a family, our blessing has simply been like forgiving each other really quickly and being humble enough to do what a younger brother may tell you what they think is best for the company at that time. And we've learned how to speak to each other as adults, as business partners, as opposed to you're an idiot. You're my younger brother. I'm not listening to you. You do what I tell you to do. Nobody wants to make any more money than anybody else either. And everyone, I don't know, mom and dad have just raised us to be like pretty level-headed when it comes to that stuff. So
I'd like to just really pull the thread on the dream and how to actually make a living by doing what you love to do, right? So everyone has the dream of owning a restaurant. I do, right? I've always wanted to own a restaurant and just do it on my own, build an amazing brand and, build this great experience. But then I need to know, and this is what every entrepreneur needs to know, what are the levers that I need to really hone in on and master so that I could make a living owning a restaurant? Is it inventory control? Is it cost of labor? Is it fresh ingredients? Like what are there are tricks, and I think every brand has their tricks, right? Chick-fil-A has their tricks, and Hobby Lobby's another one. They have tricks, they know their levers, and they've all figured it out, right? So what are the levers that you discovered, and it was like a epiphany, like, oh man, these levers, guys, are gonna make us more profitable. Like we need to focus on these areas and really master these areas so we can make a living now doing this?
Man, such a good question, Steph. Well, to start a restaurant, I would say one thing that helps a lot is have 7 boys and have them work for free for the first 3 years. That helps a lot. That's really good,
I like
Science, right?
you know? Yeah,
Hard
and
work,
then,
science.
it.
but
Yeah.
everything you talked about too, Steph, and you can hear it like somebody that knows from the business points, like, okay, the answer to that question is like there's 100 different things, and then there's like 3 major core things that you can like look at, and then individually there's like individual silos, even subset beneath all of that. But I know when I was reaching out, and there were times where the accounts are negative, payroll's about to go out, and there's not enough money to cover it. Holy cow! Small business owners and entrepreneurs all alike, we've been there. We kind of know that feeling. It sucks, and trying to get the vendor that hey, can you push us to net 15 or net 30 for this month because we just don't got it. So you wake up as like my wife back in the day. So I'm in college. She would tell me I'd wake up. I'd be sitting up, and because we all cooked then worked the grill, right? I'd be sitting up in bed like this, and she's like, "Honey, what are you doing? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh no, no, I gotta get the fish." You're sleeping. You're sleeping. I'd be cooking, right? So you're working all day. You're going to school. You go to work, and then I'm still working at nighttime when I'm supposed to be sleeping, right? And I think we've all kind of have been there in these places like that. But what's the secret? How do you make it work? From a restaurant standpoint, there's no way if the service is amazing and the food is terrible, you're not going back. And I think even when you guys go out with your spouses or whatever, date night, whatever, friends, one of the first questions when you go to a new place, the question afterwards, like, how was it? Are we going back? Like, oh, we loved it, or it was great. The food was great, right? So we are all the biggest food critics because we have our own palates and we're the ones paying for it. If the food isn't good, and so dad recognized this from day one, regardless of what your values or principles are, if your food is terrible, people are not going to come back. It has to be a good product. If your product is terrible,
Mm.
right? So that was like, so top of the pyramid list is the product has to be awesome, has to be amazing. So who does what we do in the burger industry that we love and like? We love In-N-Out. We've always thought In-N-Out was the best burger to this day. Whether you like them or hate them, you can't beat In-N-Out. It's still a $3 burger. It's $3. It's 275, 250, 250, 350, 375. The price, you can't beat it. You can get nowhere else on the planet get a burger like that. Okay. We love In-N-Out. They use fresh ingredients. You go through the drive-thru, you see them chopping the potatoes right there. Well, let's do the same thing. We cut the potatoes. So you find the people who are doing it the best and you copy and paste to the best of your ability.
Mm.
Now, when it comes down, okay, dad would put a number up on the board and say, okay, we want to be a business that makes $150,000 in gross sales. And that was a place where we thought, you do your homework, everything. And that's relatively low to some of these other places. But for us, coming from the North Shore, town of 5,000 people, that was an incredible thing. Mind you, the Korean couple before us, they were doing $300 a day.
Wow.
$500 in a day was good.
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
dad's first goal was to do it. Let's see if we can do $1,000 in one day. And I remember, if we can detract for 1 second, story. I'm cooking on the grill. We have this line. I've been at school all day, and I came and I went to work at 4 o'clock, and it was like 7:30 in the middle of a rush, and it's chaos in the kitchen. Chaos. I'm on the grill. And my dad comes in, and there's this long line. People are waiting 30 minutes for their food, 35 minutes, 40 minutes for their food. We all know that's super long, right? And we've had times when people waited even longer than that. Chaos. We'll say chaos. My dad comes in and he's so angry. He's like, "What's going on over here? People aren't getting their food. It's a mess." And he stops everything, pulls me out of the kitchen to have a conversation with me, like, what the heck is going on? And I have anxiety, like dial to 11, because I'm trying to take this food out. My dad pulls me out of the kitchen. We go around to the back. It's crazy. There was a line of people, like, it takes me all the way to the back. I have no idea what the employees were doing at the time. Okay. Like, the Kobe Bryant just got pulled off the court. Like, hey guys, keep playing, right? I'm gonna go have a private meeting in a locker room with this guy right now. No idea to this day what the employees were doing. So he came in super hot and angry, and then he pulls out his pocket, and he had gone to the register, and he's like, "Seth, look at this." I was like, "Dad, why are you so mad? It's crazy." He's like, "Oh no, no, I'm not mad anymore. You guys did $800 tonight. It's incredible. Great job." I'm like, "What the heck, dude?" I thought he was gonna like kill me. He's taking me to the back of the building, but he can't. So the dynamic was it was the first time we ever did $800 up until like 7 o'clock in that day, right? Where we were almost at that like 1,000 threshold mark. And I mean, it's kind of, as I share now, it's kind of emotional too. Like there were so many ebbs and flows. So how to run a successful business is where my dad comes in hot, but then seeing like we did this thing, we got $800, and it's like we do $800. Like I mean, that's like we do that in like in an hour, but it's just so cool, that dynamic. So having that, for me, seeing my dad at that point in a place where he was my boss, but he was my dad, but then he was proud of me, right? And then we were both, I was heated and he was heated, but we both were able to come meet each other. So that happened. But so the goal, $150,000, if that's what your gross sales goal is, he created like this program where you check in every single shift. There's 2 shifts in a day for us. We open at 11, close at 9. Each shift has a goal and a dollar amount goal. And he would always say, like, if you don't know what the scoreboard is in a
Mhm.
game, why are you playing the game? Every
Yeah.
game is a scoreboard. We're in the game of life. So if 150 broken down, we're closed on Sundays, Chick-fil-A model, right? We're all in church on Sundays. So you have 26 working days in a month. You break that into 2 shifts each. You get a dollar amount that each shift is responsible for, and every employee is tied to that amount from a service perspective, from your sales. Like, hey, would you like a drink with that small kind upselling, and so on and so forth. So that's measured. That's really good for hitting that goal. On the backside, and this was the part that was tough for me, whenever there was an issue or struggling, I'm like, "Hey, there's still not enough money in the account." Like, "Hey, we're making money, but there's bleeding going on. There is a leak in the boat and it's still sinking. Like, what the heck? We're meeting our numbers. What's going on?" And it's these few things: theft from employees, putting bacon on their burger when they're not supposed to. Um, the inventory where if somebody drops off inventory, you have a $5,000 grocery inventory slapped right in the back of your kitchen. We didn't do it for years. It's the tedious thing to go through it, but it's standard. You can chat GPT it, you can Google it. It's like standard operating 101. If you want a restaurant, you have to go through it, because it could be human error where the truck driver is supposed to drop off 15 bags of potatoes, 15 bags of potatoes to look at it. If you look at 12 bags of potatoes, guarantee you wouldn't pick up the difference between 12 and 15 bags. You're missing 3 bags of potatoes because it's a huge freaking stack of potatoes.
Ugh.
So that is a huge key element. And whether the driver accidentally missed it, or some cases the driver, takes home 3 sacks of potatoes and sells them somewhere else or whatever. That's the thing. That's like, that happens. You got to make sure inventory. More cases than not, it's human error though. So employee theft, inventory checkoff, and then portion control. Those 3 things are so vital. And I've had so many people tell me that, and I'm like, no, 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 that's not it. It is it. That is super it. That's like totally it. You have a 16-year-old kid that's giving a small fry with the portion of a large fry.
Yeah.
You compound that over 2 shifts every single day. You have 14 to 15 employees working, majority of them are teenagers, over 26 days. Those dollars and pennies
Mm.
add up to like 10, like sometimes thousands of dollars.
Mm.
And, employees taking soda there. You have to be, I don't know how politically correct it is to say Nazi about it, but you have to be really gnarly about it and really on top of it with
Good word.
employee food. You have to be super, super on it with that stuff. I can't stress it enough. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, but I always hated those responses when I reached out to other people, because I thought that those problems were too small and too little, you know? It's like, that's not it. It's not these things. Like, no. And then cash too. Like, we didn't have a cash system for the longest time. And it was the greatest lesson to me learned when all of my employees I touted are the best, that none of them would steal a penny from me. They're so good. These kids are good. I've trained them myself. I'm handling this stuff. My system that I had, I thought was good, but it was totally like antiquated. Come to find out, one of my top people that we loved dearly, an adult, a responsible adult, was stealing
Oh man.
thousands of dollars, thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
thousands,
Ugh.
hundreds at a time on the daily from not one restaurant, from two.
Hmm.
Like, take that into consideration, which we've never recovered. But the problem is, like, operationally, if your systems and your cash and like, there's hundreds of things, right? But in my opinion, if someone now is reaching out to me like, dude, Seth, I've been in the trenches 3 years now. The restaurant just isn't really working. My first question is, dude, let me taste your food. How's the food taste? It's got to be good. The customer service piece, I think, is a huge element, but food will trump customer service all day, our opinion. And then you go into the back end like, hey, yeah, your sales are doing good. What are you doing on, if you're out of a food truck, you should be making like this much money a month. You can chat GBT that all day long. You should be making this a day. And you keep everything within percentages. You can't, your labor has to be at 27% or less. Your food for us, we do it at 33%, which is arguably a little high for some people, but our ingredients are a little bit more expensive. But you want to keep it around 30%. And then you have to track your inventory and your portion control. And then you have to train your employees on all that stuff, like hiring the right people and firing really quickly, which I'm not very good at. I feel like we've learned that over the years, like hire slow and fire fast is the saying, right? And sometimes you let a fox in the hen house for a little bit too long. It's like, okay, that was an offense. That was an offense. But like, you just got to go, right? Because you start to love these kids too. But at the end of the day, you can't keep on, an 18-year-old person, even a 30-year-old person, if they're just not doing the thing that they need to be doing. So anyways, super long answer to that, Steph. But like, yeah, there's,
Every answer is a long answer, and that's all good.
I love it. I love
You
it.
literally just built the framework, you built the book just a second ago of a freaking restaurant, like every element of it.
That's it.
Product.
That was it. But so you know
How do you break it down?
that breakdown is transferable to every business. I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
because I'm
I
listening,
think so.
and I'm listening to you, and it's like talking to one of my funeral directors explaining their business to me. Exact same model,
Mm.
except it's dead people and not burgers.
Dead
So
people. Yeah.
that's a little different. All right, that's the only difference. But it's
You're not eating them.
You
all
don't need the palate.
No.
all the things that you just described to are the characteristics of a high performer, right? High performers think like that. And so anyone you hire or anyone that works in our groups, and we deal with this all the time, that is the characteristic of a high performer. Integrity, hard work, paying attention to the detail. Everything's about detail. And my one of my famous lines is this, because I worked in a restaurant growing up for years. My whole family, everyone in my family, we all worked in a restaurant.
Okay. I thought so, Steph. I thought I
Another
saw that in you right there. I see you.
Yeah. Okay. You need me on the grill, I'm there. All right. I have no problems at all. But and
I
it's
love
funny
that.
because we're in banking, and my interview, when I interview candidates, my question is, have you ever worked in a restaurant? Like, to be a banker.
Yes.
To be a banker. Because if
I
you've
love
ever
that.
worked in a restaurant, guess what? When you're walking you never walk back empty-handed ever. No one
Mm.
walks empty-handed ever. And guess what? If you asked who dropped the plate, you've not worked in a restaurant. You don't care. You stop, you pick up the plate, and you keep going. Like, nobody has time
Yes.
to point fingers. It's about the client experience and everyone having the pride, like this is your own place, right?
I
And
love
so
that.
everything you just described is exactly transferable to every business owner that we talk to. So those are some golden nuggets in there, guys. We got to get some sound.
Mhm. Seth, scariest moment in the time that you've been in the business in Seven Brothers. What was the scariest moment, and what did you guys do?
I feel like the scariest moment always is the financial struggle. I think the scariest moment is always, I hit on it shortly. Like, there's no money in the account. There's payrolls coming up. The vendor bill's coming due. I would say that is always super scary. What do you do? Pray really hard. It's like, oh,
That's
you
what-
know, this is, you know, I don't know how popular this answer would be, but I feel like one of okay, I have two parts to this. I'm going to talk about this, and then the other scariest part was when we partnered with people, and so I'll hit that with a twofold question. So the
Good.
first one, when there's no money to count, so all those things that we talked about, doing those things, and seemingly like you're doing everything perfect, right? And it just seems like there's a like you plug one leak and another one springs up, and then there's another one. You're on this boat, and it's just like constantly sinking. It just seems like all the time. It's like, dude, how do I just get this to a float? One of one of the miracles I think of the business of it working out is paying tithing to my church.
Mm.
And I feel like that has been like such a saving grace for me. So without going like totally into Sunday school here, guys, there's that. But from the financial piece of it, it just seems that if you're doing right by people, and as far as what we did about it, Brian, like I wish I could tell you like, oh, we did this financially, we did this and we did this and we did this. Like, we took out a line of credit and that gave us some leeway at one point. And then we just got smarter with our books and our operations. And when I say smarter, like we got a better POS system. We weren't using a shoebox for our cash register anymore. You know what I mean? Like, so these things, it was just money. There was so much money taken over the years. I told you one story, but there's like, and that's a lot on us. This guy told me, "Hey, Seth, if you have money coming out of your business from your employees, that's on you. You got to get your stuff together and you got to get better operations and systems, like get a register, get a good POS, like make proper investments into your business." I mean, that's a whole nother podcast in itself,
Mm.
Yeah.
is reinvesting back into your business so that don't make it so that the employees have access to that type of cash where you have to have a better system. Humans are humans. And when somebody needs an extra 20 bucks, they're going to, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever. But I think what we did about it, yeah. So we upgraded the POS, upgraded the register, created better systems. We were pen and paper old school for a real long time. And I think just having a better interviewing process as well too, filtering people through areas like that. And then a lot of the cash, like they're just cash goes away. So if you're running into financial problems, I'd say if there is zero theft within your operation system, then you have to look at your numbers in terms of your food and labor. Food and labor are two biggest costs. So one of them's off. That's all there is
Mm.
to it. If you're, because that's your profits, right? So if your food or labor is even off by 2% points or 3% points, that's thousands of dollars. If you're a food truck and operating on your own, you have two or three employees, still that could be like 2 grand. If you're a food truck, $2,000 in your pocket, that's a huge difference. Heck, even for me, I got 5 kids, $2,000. That's a Costco. That's one
Those
of my
needles.
Costco trips. Yeah,
Yeah.
that that's cash. That's money, right? $500 to $2,000. That stuff is sacred, right? So as business owners, we appreciate and recognize that the money can't be this like floofy thing that's real. It has to be really tight. Anyways, that was the scariest parts for me. Almost like again, emotional tears. Like on Friday, this has happened so many times, you guys. Like you hear these stories in like church. I guess I pay tithing Friday, payroll goes out, account goes negative. You got of like 40 employees, you have three or four of them that didn't quite make the cut. Hey Seth, I got this insufficient funds check bounce back to me thing. What's going on? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Can you wait till Monday? Let me. And then sure enough, because it's over the weekend, it's a day or two. There's a delay, right? When the money hits the account from the POS. So then when Monday and Tuesday hits, we would have this like mammoth weekend, like killer weekend, and the accounts would jump right back up from negative to like an awesome positive, and that would float us again through the week, like total miracle kind stuff. Just and you ask people like, "Hey, how did you hear about us?" That's one of my favorite questions when asking people. And again, what did we do about it? One of my things that I do when I'm super stressed, like I go and I work the tables, and I do front of house more than back of the house now because I like talking to the people and engaging and serving people and wiping their table. Again, kind of a cheesy answer, but the stress of the financial burden, if you just go and like just deliver food to people and then, hey, how'd you hear about us? Like, and then you hear the feedback. Oh my gosh, we heard about you from our aunt and uncle that was visiting here in Hawaii. They said they came here 5 times in the one week they were in Hawaii and they loved this was their favorite burger place. I'm like, oh really? Where are you guys from? We're from Southern California, and I'm always thinking In and Out, right? Like, oh, you guys are big In and Out fans, right? Like, we love In-N-Out, but we love you guys better. I'm like, no, 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 hold the phone. We're not better than In-N-Out. In-N-Out is the gold standard here. They're like, no, 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 we love this place. It's like, it's emotional, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, all this isn't for naught. What do I do about it when I'm financially struggling? I go and play the game. I go into the restaurant, I serve people, and it seems to take the edge off. And then I pay my tithing. Monday hits, Tuesday hits. Monday, you get the deposit from Thursday, Friday. Tuesday, you get it from Saturday. And it's just like the accounts go up, and we're like, thank you. Great,
Yeah.
great blessings. And it's like, it's a miracle. But I don't know as far as
Cool.
like, what we do about it. But the second piece of it, the scariest part was partnering partnering with people, because for so long it was just as a family, and we met with so many people over the course of the years. Like, why did we decide to go into the franchising world? Because that's what traditionally people do to take it to the next level. If we don't have the capital, right, and we want to organically grow but scale it at a reasonably really cool pace, you go and find somebody, you franchise is the answer. And that's what took us into the franchising world. And for so long, dad was scared to franchise. We did a licensing thing for a minute, and we kind of backpedaled from that a little bit. And you basically are entrusting somebody else with your baby. So every business owner knows that you have to cross this bridge. Like, hey, if you're going to scale the way you want to scale, not everybody can do it like In-N-Out, just organically raw all
Mm.
the way like this. So long story short, dad finally got on board, saw the vision of where this could go, using other people's capital as a franchise model for them to build it out, and we train and teach them. And that was really scary to partner with people like that, like, and then to bring on a financial partner as well too. Also very scary, because you're now sharing ownership. And the scariest part is that we have just had heard so many horror stories where people had
Mm.
hostile takeovers where they brought somebody in, and it was just like somebody that was like more cunning, more wealthy. They had the back, and they figured out how to like push out the founder, right? McDonald's,
Yeah.
right? And Ray Kroc, these guys, right? So that was dad's always in the back of his head, just super afraid. What we did about it, again, lots and lots of praying, met with tons of people as a family, like thousands and thousands of hours of meeting time as a family, where we got mom, everybody, even bringing all of our wives in too, like we're all married, and just like literally hashing this thing out, thinking of every scenario, talking to people who were like us, had businesses, brought on partners, hearing their horror stories, how crazy hard it was. They sold 50% of their company, and before it was just them, and now they have this other guy from like New York chiming in, telling them what to do because he owns 50% of the company. Yeah, they got so much fear around that, so much anxiety around that. But at the same time, what did we do about it, Brian, as far as that goes? Like, one of the pinnacle things that somebody had told us and said, you guys, I was in your same shoes. I sold my company for like $56 million. Guy totally killed it. And so we brought on mentors, actually, kind of mentors, like just like
Mhm.
interviewing and talking to people, like finding out, collecting information as much as we could. And this guy said this, he's like, look, you seven brothers, Art and Peggy, my mom and daddy's like, you guys can own 100% of a company that's worth $1 million, let's say. Or you can own 50% or 60% or 30% of $1 billion company.
But numbers didn't lie. They got you.
So
The vision
that was
became
the
reality.
vision. That was it. That was it. That was it right there. So it's like, oh, okay. And
You
it's
thought
cool that a guy, what's that, Shane?
I said you thought of the scale of what it could become.
The scale would have become, and we could organically go and I mean, it took us forever to open up like a couple of people. There are brands way younger than us that are Dave's Hot Chicken. They're on fire right now. Dave's Hot Chicken is like, they're huge. And there's dozens of others. We've been around for 15 years. These brands have been around for 7 years, 8 years, 6 years, that are way bigger than us. And it's because organically, and I think that was good for us, we had to figure out who we were. And as we were like figuring out how to like work together as a family and not fighting the kitchen anymore. And this brother would leave, and then I would leave, and then this brother would leave. This brother comes back. This brother comes back. And like, what are your role? What's your role? And then now it's like the synergy and the vision. It's all coming together. That was a massively huge milestone for us to come together as a family. Okay, we're gonna start franchising. That was huge. Okay, we're gonna bring on some capital partners. Hey, we're gonna do this. That was amazing for us to be able to do it. It was amazing for dad to get on board with that because that was huge. Because if dad wasn't on board, we'd be fighting the entire time, wouldn't have worked. So when
Mm.
mom and dad got on board with that too, all of us brothers kind of like came together. Like, okay, this is the pathway. This is what we're gonna do. And so so Brian, so the short answer, Brian, is this: that we brought on, I would say we brought on mentors. We brought on more mentors, a lot of praying, a lot of fasting, making sure that we were in the right mindset and kind of letting the Almighty kind of steer the ship a little bit there. And then
Mm.
people started coming into our pathway. And then what's really interesting is that the people that we love our franchisees, they're great people, but the people that we ended up, partnering with, dude, it was like falling in love almost for like without being cheesy. It was like this like really cool moment, like, hey, of all the people that we've spoken to, like this is the guy.
Yeah.
And he's an amazing human being. His family's amazing, his partners are amazing, his people, his circle, they're all epic people. And there's a ton of people that have cash, tons of people that have business experience. Every, so many people are so successful and so smart, but it had to be the right fit, right? It had to be the right person. It wasn't about, who's the richest guy, who has the most this or whatever, or even who has the deepest resume. And we are a lot of people. Who goes into business with a family of 9 people, 7 brothers and their mom and their dad? Who does that? That's crazy, right? Usually it's a business partner. It's like 2 people, maybe it's three, maybe four, like board members, nine. It's a joke. Having to like everybody has like their own opinion on things. It's crazy. So for these guys also, that was another big study for them to like not wash us over like a tidal wave. Like, hey, you guys are a bunch of surf bombs that don't know what the heck you're doing. Can't even set the ball right in high school. Come on, bro. No, but so
Mm,
that it works. So I think that these people that come into our pathway, it's like falling in love. I feel like kind of like we all as a family to come together for all of us to be like, this is the guy was like is kind of a big deal for us because it's we're not always on the same page.
Yeah.
So that's what we though that was scary giving that up and making sure we give it up with the right people, bringing on a partner. So scary. What are they going to do? How's their life? Are they going to make us work like 1,000 hours a week? Are these guys workaholics that they have zero family life balance? Like I got 5 kids, right? Are they going to make us move to Utah where all the growth is right now? Where I'm on the North Shore of Hawaii, we don't want to move, but we're happy to do what we got to do. Like, how is this going to work, right? You give away a
Yeah.
piece of your company. These guys, you have to answer to these guys, you
Yeah.
know. So that was super scary, and it turns out, yeah, they're super cool, and the visions are aligned. So
that's awesome.
yeah,
Fantastic.
Well, no, and that's honestly, Seth, we appreciate you coming on and like spending the time with us. The storytelling, the campfire. This is a fireside right
I
now.
love
Yeah.
it,
Straight up
dude. I love it.
right
I
chat. Remember
love it.
that? Oh, that's like the weird, like scary stories. But delivering some truth that I think that every entrepreneur, especially those within the restaurant world, but
Oh
even
yeah.
outside of it, can see how a business should operate how you can take something that you're passionate about and create a formula and a system and a science around it. It becomes successful and not still lose the passion.
Yeah,
That's the thing that I think is the kind of the most unique element about it is that you're able to maintain you've crafted a brand, this passion brand and a passion product, and you've fortified it with the infrastructure to actually help it grow. And I think that's honestly what tends to be missing out of a lot of people. If they just build the infrastructure, but they don't have the passion, it will crumble. It will scale, it'll plateau, right? To the point where it just isn't gonna grow grow because it doesn't have the
no,
energy. It doesn't have the person at the helm of it that's thinking, "I'm so stressed, I can't make payroll. I'm gonna go out and wipe some tables down because I love it that much." Like, nobody freaking does that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's
no,
not what the triggers in the normal person's brain, but in an entrepreneur's brain, and
yeah,
a business owner who loves what they do and loves to serve and loves what they sell. Like, that's the difference between the scalability concept of that brand or one that's just gonna, man, maybe make a couple $100,000, fizzle out, and you sell off the equipment when you can't run it anymore, right? So I think that, you've defined a way that somebody can be successful with it, and a way to do it when you have 6 crazy brothers that like stomp on each other's faces in the kitchen and have the boxing
Hardcore.
matches in their living room every
True
Saturday. Yeah.
stories. Yeah. No, that's kind, Shane. We appreciate it. It's no, it's been a total blessing. And it's honestly, I'm grateful you guys would take the time to even talk to us. We're an emerging brand and we're small, but I'm super stoked. It's fun to talk about and to meet connections like this. And Steph, you've been amazing and to answer the questions. And honestly, it's really cool to go back to see where it's come, and it's really exciting to see where it will go. And I'm super excited to see where your guys' podcast is going to go too.
Well,
Talking
there
about
you go.
scaling and growing. Powerful,
Man,
powerful people right here.
Oh, we needed you on there, brother.
Yeah.
preach the way, good sir.
You're gonna
Well,
lose followers because of us, probably. Like, dude, this guy
Are we
can't set
getting
the
a
ball
bump?
right.
all right, so we're grateful that Seth was able to chime with us today. If you're just listening and you got this far into this long podcast, please be sure to follow and look us up on lordsoflending.com. We'll catch you next time.